Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's having a great day. Today we're doing a call on fat loss over 40. And this is such an important topic for at this stage in life as different things are starting to happen to your body, and it's so important to get out ahead of it. And if you did not get out ahead of it and you're maybe later in age, we have some tips that can help you turn it around. Um, right, Kim? How's your day been?
Oh, it's been crazy. I was telling Naomi earlier, all my stuff is all over the place. So finding my computer and finding all the things that I needed to get on the call, it's just fun. I'm in a really fun part of life and I'm learning new tricks and new tips and it's just always an adventure.
Well, I think you did a much better job than I did, and you have an excuse. I have no excuse, but anyway, it is what it is, and we're going now, so
That's
yay.
right. So we're on.
Okay, so I'll start with tip number one, and that is we need to focus more on fat loss than weight loss because they're not the same thing. And, your weight can always fluctuate, maybe based on what you ate last night or how much sodium you had, or, for some, is it that time of the month? Or when you start seriously trying to build muscle, you may gain weight, but you're gaining lean body mass, muscle, and losing fat, which is the goal. So we need to focus on losing fat because when we have more lean muscle mass, you just have a better overall composition. And resistance training and high protein will help you gain lean muscle during this phase.
And so something
And
that
so
I've really been working on is prioritizing that protein because um, before now, it really hasn't been something that I've had to focus on. But now that I'm getting older and I know that my body processes protein differently, so I have to really look at that and try to figure out how to work that in where I've never really even thought about it before. So, um, I still try to get in my beans every day and finding different ways to cook tofu and trying to find a protein powder that I really like that's not full of all the chemicals and all of the has been a challenge, but I find that when I do focus on the protein that I stay full. I don't think about food all the time. I'm not constantly going, okay, what am I going to eat next? I'm like, wow, I'm still full from when I ate a couple hours ago. And that's been a new experience for me.
I think that, the protein along with the fiber is what will keep
Hmm.
you feeling full. And
Yes.
so I just wanted to share this real quick. And this is something that I found this week at Sprouts. I normally don't shop at Sprouts. To be honest, I had to drive a distance to go there, but I wanted to try this. And this is soy free tofu, and it's made from fava beans. And the great thing about it is, okay, so there are four servings in this. I usually make it into three, just to be honest. There's four, but I make it into three. And it's 70 calories per serving. It is, guess how many carbs, Kim? How many carbs do you think is in this?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Zero, zero,
Really?
zero carbs, 16 grams of protein. And how much fat do you think?
Oh, very little, I would think. Zero fat. Wow, that's impressive. No, I'm just going to say now, I don't know about everybody else, but the only Sprouts that I know of in my area is probably I know it's in Beaumont, and so that's a pretty good distance for me. But
Well, I'm just saying this because I just want you to know that it is available. And like, if you do, are you planning a trip to Beaumont or something like that? Because
right.
that's what I did. I was like, okay, the next time I go over that way, I'm going to swing by Sprouts and get some of this. So, I mean, and it's pretty good. Like, it's a little more dense than tofu, I would say. But you can flavor it up and fix it. I'm going to eat it tonight with some lettuce wraps. I'm going to put it in lettuce wraps.
That was going to be my next question was what does it taste like? Is it good? Because I have learned I crave tofu. I do,
Me
and I
too.
really have to. So when you say you make that into two, I've started buying, and I don't have it with me, but I've started buying that silken tofu, the shelf stable at HEB, and I will make one carton into one serving. I'll make that whole thing into a thing of yogurt. So, and that's I love that. I think that's really good. I think if you add fruit to it, it becomes a sweet and you can have the yogurt, or you could leave it plain and use it like a sour cream and it would be really good that way too. So I'm heading to College Station tomorrow and I will be hitting the HEB and buying all their shelf-stable tofu while I'm there.
Mhm. Right, right. And those are all, good tips and good things to do. And, and it creates a variety of ways to get in protein, right? Like I love tempeh. I eat a lot of tempeh. And, I'll pair it up with maybe a little quinoa and a few things of beans, just to have a variety because by the time that you add all of the things up, then you've had a good amount of protein in that meal and all good for you foods too. Okay,
Yeah.
so enough on protein. Moving to the next thing is resistance training and why it's important. Because building muscle impacts metabolic health, it changes your body composition, and it is good for bone health, which as we get older, that becomes so important. And so it's good to get out ahead of that and not be on the other side. And, let's be proactive instead of reactive. And resistance training will help you do all of those things. I mean, have you ever heard the term, if you don't use it, you'll lose it? And that's the fact with muscle. And as we get older,
Yeah.
I believe the statistics say after when you hit age 40, every year beyond that, you lose a percentage of muscle fat, at least 1% every, I mean, muscle fat. I said, not muscle fat. I wish we lost fat, but we lose muscle,
Yeah.
1% of muscle each year after the age of 40. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So resistance training 2 to 3 times a week can have a huge impact on your overall health. And a lot of people think that, well, their exercise is going to be, well, I go for a walk every day. And a walk is great and it can help change your body composition, but it is not the same as resistance training and challenging your muscles. So I walk too, and it's an important part of my day. Like I love getting outside, hearing the birds, seeing the trees, the sky. It's calming to me. But I also do resistance training because you need to have both. You have to have a little bit of cardio and resistance training in your week.
Well, because I heard a stat this week that one in every three women will end up in a nursing home. And when the other statistic that they put with that was if you fall and break something like you break a hip or you break your leg or that 50% of the people, the older people never get back to where they were before the fall. And so today, sitting is the new cancer because we sit at our desks or we sit wherever and we're not getting that resistance training. We're not getting in that cardio. We're not getting outside. And so I think that more today, more than ever, that resistance training and is so important. And the more reports, the more research that's done, we realize that this is vital to keep us independent as long as we can be.
Right. So, an important part of your week, make sure you do it.
Yes. And just a side note, I needed heavier weights because we need to be lifting heavy. And I've been putting it off because I've been gone so much and I got them in and oh man, it felt so good to challenge myself last night. I got to work out with them and it was just really, I enjoyed it so much. But that just segues straight into comparing ourselves with others. And that is something we have to be really careful about because comparison is the thief of joy because we are all built differently. God did not make us all the same. How boring of a world would that be if we were all the same people? So, Kelly probably lifts a lot harder than I do. And that's very difficult for my brain to understand because Kelly is tiny and I am not. But I know that Kelly has been doing it longer than I have. And so, I can compare myself to her, but it doesn't make me any better. So we have to be really careful about watching other people and seeing what they're doing and seeing how they're progressing and then comparing our progression to theirs because that will absolutely kill your motivation. Right? You can get up in the morning and you're like, I'm going to do it today. It's going to be such a great day. And then you see something that somebody else has done and you're like, I can't do that. I've been working so hard at this and I can't do this. And one of our main things that we work so hard on is being natural, right? We're not taking any, we don't deal in any of the performance in any of the enhancers, any of those things. We want to use what God has given us to get to where we want to be or we need to be. So we have to really be careful to focus on whole natural foods and not worry about what everybody else is doing, but focus on what am I doing? How am I going to make this happen? And how is this working for me? So,
I think another thing too, and this is something that I have been guilty of too, is not just solely comparing myself to others, but comparing myself to my younger self.
yes,
What I could do before or what I did before. And I'm different now. My body is different now. And I need to, accept that for what it is and work with what I have because I can improve each and every day. And I'm not the same person, thank goodness, that I was when I was
amen.
20,
Yeah,
So I think that's also important. And just
yes,
focus on the positive things, like, instead of what's she doing or he doing or whatever, it's like, what am I doing? Am I lifting heavier every week or every month? Am I sleeping better? Do I have my nutrition dialed in? If you spent more time focusing on those things instead of what everybody else is doing, we would all be much better off.
absolutely. Yes.
I think the fifth tip that we have is to prioritize your sleep because poor sleep sabotages your building muscle and fat loss. And this is something that we always preach and have talked about from the beginning. You need to prioritize it and get at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep each night. And if you have to develop some kind of routine, ritual in the evening that sets you up to put you in a good place to be able to fall asleep and stay asleep, then do whatever it takes. And I think a lot of times, one thing that this may not be very popular, but alcohol can inhibit your sleep. And it does cause you to, it is disruptive to your sleep. So just keep that in mind if you're, thinking of a nightcap or that glass of wine before you go to bed or whatever. It can affect your sleep in a negative way.
Well, and one thing that I have recently started doing, I had heard this tip for sleep, and it's to take a cool shower before bed or a cool bath, not a cold one, not like just to make you freezing to death, but just to kind of bring your body temperature down because what I would always have a tendency to take a hot shower. And because I like that. But that cool shower really has helped me. Like I said, I'm not in there shivering, but it is cool and it really does. I think it's really improved my sleep. So if you have an issue with sleep, try that and see if that could help you some.
That's a good tip.
And number 6 is don't rush the process. And I always say it didn't take me overnight to be 100 pounds overweight, right? So therefore I wanted to lose 100 pounds overnight so I could be done with it, but that's not how it works. So I'm not going to say just don't rush it. I don't know that you will enjoy it if you look at it the right way. It's all about perception, right? So if you realize every day I'm working toward my goal, it takes that pressure off of you to be perfect and to for it to be instant because we want everything to be instant. We live in that's the society we live in. But remember, it did not take you overnight or 2 weeks or 2 months to get in the position that you're in. So it's just something that we're working on every day to try to get better.
For sure. And I mean, it's like consistency is the key. So just keep showing up every day. And even when you don't feel like it, I always say, if you just really, really think that you're not going to be into your workout and you don't want to do it, go try and give yourself
Absolutely.
10 minutes, and if 10 minutes passes and you just are not into it and you can't do it, then, maybe go back later or start over the next day. But most of the time, if you just show up, and even if you're giving 80%, it's going to make a difference. And it's like everybody says, when they go and they finish a workout, no one ever says, "Oh, I'm really sorry I did that." You're always glad that you
Absolutely.
did.
Yep.
Yeah.
I would do that when I was running. I would, if I, and I never want to run. I never want to go out and run, but I'm always like, I'll give myself 5 minutes. If 5 minutes into the run, I'm like, I just can't do it, then I'll try again later. But I can honestly say in however many years I've been doing this, I may have not ran one time, just because I was sick or whatever. So if that's the hardest part, starting is the hardest part. So get out
Yep.
there and you deserve it. You're worth it. That's do it. Just do it. See how it goes.
Okay, and the last thing is we want to pound on again is not to obsess over the number on the scale because it
But
doesn't
that's
give
so
you the full,
hard.
it is, but it does not give you the full picture of what's going on with you. It's more important to ask yourself, like, am I feeling strong? How is my energy level? How is my mood? Am I feeling more confident? Because chances are, if you're hitting the gym like, or your workout like you should, at least 2 to 3 times a week, and you're doing your steps, more than likely you are feeling more confident because it makes you feel good about yourself because you're doing something for yourself, for your future, and not just you, for your friends and family too, because you're a better person because of it. You're in a better mood, you feel more confident about yourself. And the last thing is, how's your digestion? It's probably better if you are on track with your nutrition and you are working out like you're supposed to be. So these things are all so much more important than the number on the scale. And if you are, you know, increasing your protein and you're lifting heavier weights, chances are you are gaining more muscle, and muscle weighs more than fat. So you might even see the scale inch up a little bit. But how are your clothes fitting?
Yeah.
Are your clothes fitting looser? Do you feel better about yourself physically? Those are all more important things than what's on the scale.
But that's not how we've been taught. That's not how we've grown up. And so that's a really big switch to flip in your mind when you're doing this. And I have learned the scale is just numbers for me. It's just data. It tells me how I'm doing, and so, and it can depend on what you ate the night before, how late you ate. There's just all kinds of factors that go into that. So, if we can focus on lifestyle, focus on whole foods, and get outside, get your weights done, get your cardio in, take that time. It's precious for yourself. I know that a lot of us have grandkids, a lot of us have kids in the picture, and so they're important to us and we want to be there for them. And um, you know, we want to set that example. So it's more than a number, just like your age.
And all of these things just make you better. They make you better, stronger, more confident, in a better mood, more capable, all of those things. So, those are the tips that we have for losing fat loss over 40. And thanks to everyone for joining us today. I don't even think I said I'm Kelly, and this is my sister Kim.
Well,
And
and just
we have,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Well, I was just going to ask if anybody had any questions. Okay, go ahead, Kelly.
Okay. No, that's all I have for today. So thanks everyone for joining us. And we're on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Just send us a message if you have questions or if we can help you in any way.
Okay, Kelly, before we go, when's our next call and when's our next cooking show?
Next call is June 24th. Cooking
Okay,
show is June 26th. And
awesome.
I will post that in all the appropriate places.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.